words. So
it's not kicking her off. She's ending it. I just saw her end it.
There you goes. She left. It's okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. So Isabella, make sure you're muted. All right, so we're going to go ahead and say our vowels. A, E, I, O, U. And now we're going to do our high frequency words. Any, cried, didn't, funny, hello, laugh, pretty, slowly, song, were. All right, so here's our spelling word. Hens, eggs, ducks, bikes, boxes, wishes, dresses, names, bells, stamps. All right, good job, guys. Go ahead and put yourselves on mute. That was wonderful. We did pretty good on that one. Okay, so we did our high frequency words. And so now what we're going to do is talk about suffixes Y and LY. Remember yesterday, Miss Fullington pulled out this card right here? Oops, let me get it. Remember Miss Fullington pulled out this eagle card? And we focused on the Y sound because the Y sound on this card sounds like a long E, like slowly, or what else? Snowy, when it's snowy outside or rainy. It has the long E sound that you hear. And so we're going to talk about that today. The suffixes Y and LY.
ES stands for boxes.
Yes, yes, you're right. That rule, you remember the plural, right? The plural sounds for if it's an X or a CH or a SH, it has ES. And then if it ends in a consonant, then it's just an S, right? So it says here suffix. Remember, suffix is a syllable or a word part added to the end of a word to form a new word. It says the suffix Y adds the meaning like, with, or full of. The suffix ly adds the meaning in that way. So if we have messy, and messy has a Y at the end, it knows it's full of a mess, right? Like a messy room is full of a mess, right? Slowly is an example with ly. And slowly is in that way. So we do it in a way that is very slow, right? So that's slowly. So that's with suffix Y and LY. All right. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be reading a read aloud, and it's really cute. It's called Freddy the Frogcaster. And so it has to do with weather. Remember, our unit on Module 6 is about weather. And so first we got to introduce our power words. So I'm going to go ahead and
read it before.
You've read it before, and some of you might have, and that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go over it since it's part of our module. So I'm going to go ahead and share our
I read it with Miss Freeman because she
yeah, Miss Freeman has this book too. So let me see if I can share it with y'all. So that first we're going to do our power words. There we go. Can everybody give me a thumbs up if you can see our power words? Thumbs up.
That hot chocolate or coffee or whatever that is between their legs looks good.
It does look like hot chocolate or coffee. It could be either or. Carlo, give it just a second. It'll pop up. There's sometimes a delay. And if it's still not popping up, I would log off and log back on. Okay. Yes, Isabella Isabella Bright.
What's the little thumbtack on mine?
What's the little what?
Thumbtack. I see a thumbtack on mine.
Oh, don't put the thumbtack. Go ahead and click the thumbtack. What it's doing is it's focusing on just you and not the person who's presenting.
Miss Fullington.
That's a good question. Yes.
You're making us hungry.
I'm sorry. All right, so I'm sorry, it's part of our story, so we've got to just go with it, okay?
I'm
okay.
so hungry now.
So, right here, it says toasty. Everybody say toasty.
Hey, at least lunch.
Toasty.
So toasty is something that is toasty means it's warm and comfortable. So this would probably be a good idea, right? This would probably be a good idea for someone who has just played out in the snow, right? Who's just played out in the snow, and they're coming into the warm fire, and they're sitting down, and it's toasty and warm. So they're trying to stay warm. All right, so let's go to the next one. Make sure you're on mute. Don't unmute yourself. All right, so the next one is chief. Everybody say chief. So chief is someone who's a chief in a job title is the lead or the leader and is the most important person doing that job. Isabella Wigington, make sure we're on mute. We're doing our lesson.
Miss Fullington.
So chief is an adjective. So someone who has, so it says the chief firefighter was in charge of the firehouse. Okay. So it says here, discuss a person who's in charge at school. So who's in charge of our school?
Miss Velasquez.
Miss Velasquez is in charge of our school. And then who else? Mr. Hawkins. So Mr. Hawkins and Mrs. Velasquez are the chiefs of the school, right? So they are the leaders or the lead of the school. Good job. All right, so our next one, everybody say hazy. So hazy is an adjective. Something that is hazy is not clear or is hard to see. Okay, so it says here, something that is hazy is not clear or is hard to see. And so it says here in the images, it says the tall buildings were hard to see in the hazy day. So something, another word for hazy could be foggy. So we know a lot of fog. So that's when a cloud descends from the sky and comes to earth and it makes it foggy. So basically the fog, you're in a cloud. Did you know that? That's kind of cool. You're inside a cloud when it's foggy outside. All right, so we're going to the next one. Everybody say boast. So boast is a verb. And when you boast about something, you speak about it too proudly. So it says here, when the sky is hazy, it's hard to see, or wait, I'm reading the wrong one. I often boast that our school is the best, right? So we have the best school. McDonald Elementary is the best school. So we have to be boastful about it, right? All right, here's the next one. Ooh, everybody say ruin. So ruin is a verb. When you ruin something, you spoil it. It says, people who talk during a movie ruin it for me. How many of y'all have ever have someone do that to you? Give away an important part of a movie that you've never seen before, or a book. Yeah, you gotta be very careful not to ruin it. Yes.
Oh, my dad.
Miss Fullington.
Yes.
When I was trying to toast some bread in the toaster, it got burnt.
Yeah, so it says here, that's a good one. So it says here, oh, let's make sure we put ourselves on mute. We can't leave ourselves on. So it says here, ruin. So it says here, you will ruin the toast if you cook it too long. So Harlow, that is a good example of when she put toast in the toaster and it was left too long and it burned. Clinton, did you have a question?
One time, my brother, he put his toast in the toaster.
Uh-huh.
There too long, and then it got cold. So he put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and it smelled like burnt popcorn.
Oh no, that's dangerous, isn't it? And it probably didn't smell very good in your house, did it? Awesome. All right. Thank you for that connection. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Oh, I'm sorry. Jorge, make sure you're on mute. Thank you. Guys, you got to remember your hands are in your lap. Make sure they're in your lap. Your iPad should be on a stand, and we should not be touching the screen to unmute ourselves, okay, when someone's talking. All right, we're going to our last one for the sake of time. Everybody say accurate. So accurate is an adjective. It's a describing word. When something is accurate, it is correct. So it says here on the story or on the card, it says the weather report predicting snow was accurate. So you can see based on the evidence that the snow is collecting on the window. So the weatherman was accurate about the weather report. Good job. All right, so we are going to go ahead and jump into our story. But first, we're going to go ahead and share our poster for today, our skill. I'm going to go ahead and share that with you.
Melody's on.
Melanie's on? Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this and then share our poster for today.
I left.
Oh, she's been here since the very beginning. Oops, that's the wrong one. I need to share this one. There we go. All right, give me a thumbs up if you can see our poster for today. So our poster, we've already talked about this before, and it's point of view. So point of view, let's go ahead and read what it says. It says point of view. Someone's point of view is the way he or she sees things happen. Characters have different points of view. So we have 2 points of view that we look at. The first person point of view is a story written in first person point of view, has a character in the story as the narrator. So the narrator is telling the story. So some of the words that the narrator may use is I, me, or my. So the narrator's inside the story telling the story. So the third person point of view, a story in third person point of view, has an outside narrator, and the narrator uses he, she, or they. So an outside narrator can tell about all the characters in the story. So it says here, readers need to identify the narrator or who is telling the story to figure out the point of view. It says we have to remind ourselves that the narrator is either a character in the story or outside of the story telling the story. So something that you might want to ask yourself is a character telling the story? So next, we probably want to review the clue words I, my, and me if the character is a narrator, or he, she, or they if the story has an outside narrator. Okay, so we're going to practice identifying the point of view when we listen to and read aloud the book called Freddy the Frogcaster. So we need to go ahead at the end of the story. Miss Wellington's going to ask, who is telling the story? Is it the narrator or is it someone else telling the story? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and we're going to listen to the story called Freddy the Frogcaster. Okay, so let's make sure that we're paying attention. Isabella Wigington, we're going to have to ask our questions at the end of our lesson. Thank you. All right.
I can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm sorry, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself, and then I'm gonna share the Freddy the Frogcaster. So it may look like a YouTube video, but that's okay because we are gonna listen to it and read it aloud, okay? All right. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see our story called Freddy the Frogcaster, and there's a frog on our page. Landon, make sure you put that pointer up. That's for the teacher to give out, okay?
I watched this.
Thank you.
I read this before.
You've read it before, so go ahead. Remember, don't ruin it. That's one of our power words. Make sure you keep it a secret so that everybody else can learn what it is. Harlow, go ahead, and Omar. Okay, Omar can see it. Harlow, go ahead and log off and log back on to refresh your screen. So we won't start without you.
Miss Clinton.
Yes, Omar?
My screen is upside down.
Your screen is upside down. Maybe you need to turn your iPad. Sometimes your iPad will do that. Is it better?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, did Harlow come back on? Harlow, are you able to see the story? All right, so Harlow, if it's giving you some issues, go ahead and sit by a neighbor, okay? All right, everybody else, we're going to go ahead and start the video, and Miss Flington's going to mute us.
I have a thumbs up. It's working.
Oh, okay, I couldn't see you, sweetie. That was all. All right, so what Miss Flington's going to do is going to mute herself, and so that you can listen to the story and make sure you're paying attention, okay? Remember, we're going to practice. Whose point of view is the story? Is it the narrator? Remember, he's going to use I, me, or my. Or is it another person telling the story and saying he, she, or they? So we're going to talk about that after, so pay attention.
Hey friends, today we are reading a story called Freddy the Frogcaster, written by Janice Dean, the Weather Machine, illustrated by Russ Cox. Blue skies, puffy white clouds, sunshine with a light breeze. Ah, perfect weather for lily pad hopping in the pond near Freddy's house. Freddy liked rainy days too, splashing in puddles, listening to the pitter-patter of rain. Snowy days were also fun, a day off school to build snow frogs. The air so cold Freddy could see his own breath, hot chocolate sitting in front of a toasty fire. Ah. All kinds of weather made Freddy happy. His mom says Freddy was born to be a frogcaster. She remembers the very day it became clear. Freddy was barely bigger than a tadpole as she pushed him along in his stroller. He pointed at a big gray cloud and said, "Rain!" It was his first word. Mama Frog barely had time to push the stroller home before it started pouring. Freddy and his mom watched Sally Croker, the chief frogcaster on the Frog News Network, every morning. Sally was the best meteorologist in town. Everyone relied on her forecasts to plan their weekends, trips, and events. As Freddy grew, he kept his eye on the sky, watching the clouds for clues about the weather. Some days there were big heaps of clouds that looked like cotton candy. Sometimes they looked like flat and hazy, like a big gray blanket. Some clouds were wispy and curly, like a horsetail. How does Freddy use the clouds to predict the weather? I think you're right. I think he looks at the shape and the color of the clouds to predict the weather. Good job. Freddy was so interested in weather that Papa Frog built him a weather station in their backyard. It had thermometers, barometers, and all kinds of weather instruments. On the roof, there was a weather vane to show the wind's direction. His parents never had to ask Freddie what he wanted for his birthday or Christmas. The weather books, charts, and tools they got him always made him happy. Freddie started each day gathering weather clues. He watched the clouds, but he also paid attention to the temperature, barometric pressure, and humidity. Then he ran back to the house to watch Sally's weather forecast to see if his predictions were right. At first, Freddie's mom thought his weather watching was cute. But Freddie was right so many times that Mama Frog couldn't help but boast to her friends about his weather predictions. Before long, the whole town knew about Freddie the Frogcaster. One day at school, Freddie's friend, Holly Hopper, was worried that it would rain on her birthday and ruin her outdoor party. Their teacher, Mrs. Fibian, said, "Why don't we ask our own Frogcaster for help?" Mrs. Fibian handed Freddie her chalk, and Freddie drew the forecast on the blackboard. He explained how high-pressure system was hovering right over Lilypad. This meant that the weather should be sunny and warm for the next few days. Hooray! The whole class cheered when Freddie finished his report. He was so excited when Holly invited him to her party. Then one day, something happened that changed Freddie's daily weather routine. Sally Croaker, Freddie's favorite TV frogcaster, had 3 little tadpoles. While Sally was out on tadpole leave, the Frog News Network hired a new frogcaster to fill in. Her name was Polly Woggins, and boy, was she a hit. Every group in town invited her to come and speak at their meetings, from the Salamander Society to the Bullfrog Ballet. All of her special appearances kept her hopping. The attention was great for the TV station. More and more frogs tuned in to see the new frogcaster in action. But Freddie started to notice a change in the forecasts. It seemed like Polly was so busy with all of her celebrity appearances that she didn't have time to watch the weather clues. Several days in a row, Freddie's forecasts were more accurate than Polly's. Some days, Polly didn't seem to have a forecast at all. Mother Nature is being tricky today. It may be sunny or it may rain. Who knows? It may even snow. Well, be prepared. Frogs were juggling their umbrellas, sunglasses, and mittens. That way, they would be ready for any type of weather. So why are Freddie's forecasts more accurate than Polly's forecasts? That's right, excellent. If we go back into the text, we can see that Polly was so busy with all of her celebrity appearances that she didn't have time to watch the weather clues. So that made her predictions much less accurate. One day, the mayor dropped by to pay Freddie a visit. Mr. Mayor, what can I do for you, sir?" Freddie asked politely. "As you know, Freddie, the Leapfrog Picnic is a week away. It is a big event for frog families near and far, and we need an accurate weather forecast for that day," the mayor said. "Why are you telling me?" Freddie looked puzzled. "Polly Wilkins is the new frogcaster?" The mayor looked one way, then he looked the other way. He leaned in close and he said in a quiet voice, "The thing is, Polly is so busy with her frog fans, she barely has time to say weather, let alone forecast it. I need you to keep an eye on the weather so that we can plan a great day." "I'll do my best, Mr. Mayor," Freddie said. Then Freddie offered to show the mayor his weather station. As Freddie led the mayor out to the backyard, he explained, Weather gets tricky to forecast this time of year. One day it's warm and dry, the next day it's cool and rainy. If it gets cold enough, it could even snow. The mayor was impressed with Freddie's weather station. Amazing, he declared, certain he had found the right frog for the job. Freddie wasn't about to let the town down. Every day he checked and rechecked his maps and instruments. Things were looking fine until the day before the picnic. If the cold front moving in from the west mixed with the warm air from the south, it could bring strong thunderstorms. Freddie knew thunderstorms and picnics were not a good combination, and not just because it would soak the fried cricket sandwiches, it could put the frogs in real danger. Freddie was worried. Polly Woggins hadn't mentioned a word about rain in her last forecast. Freddie had to do something. He called the mayor and asked him to meet him at the weather station. But when the mayor arrived, he wasn't alone. Freddie's favorite TV frogcaster, Sally Croker, was with him, tadpoles in tow. I heard you needed a little help, she explained. With no time to waste, Sally and Freddie hopped on it. Mr. Mayor, Sally said, Freddie is right. There is a big storm on the way. Quick, turn on the TV, said the mayor. Maybe we can get word to Polly in time for her last forecast. But they were too late. Polly was signing off, advising her frog fans to be prepared for perfect picnic weather tomorrow. Uh-oh, said Sally. Uh-oh is right, said the mayor. Hey, wait a minute, said Freddie. She's not all wrong. The mayor and Sally were confused. Be prepared, said Freddie. She said, be prepared. We can do that. Why, yes, we can, agreed the mayor with a big sigh of relief. Come on, Freddie, we have got work to do. So why is Polly's forecast not all wrong? What do you think the mayor and Freddie will do based on Polly's forecast? So right now, I'm going to look at the text, and I'm going to be reminded that she did say to be prepared. So that's the part of her forecast that was not wrong. Now I'm going to infer that Freddie's forecast was correct and that it's going to rain and have a thunderstorm. So because of that, I'm going to make a prediction that they may be prepared for a storm and move their picnic inside. I don't know. Let's see if my prediction is correct. The big day started off fine, sunny and warm. All the frogs were having fun playing in the lily pad and drying off in the warm sun. Right before lunch, things started to change. The fluffy white clouds turned gray and lumpy. There was a chill in the air, and the wind started to howl. A loud rumble sounded in the distance. Big sloppy raindrops began to fall. The mayor grabbed his megaphone and said, "Please move your family and your food to the frogatorium. I repeat, everyone head to the frogatorium now." Freddie held up a big white sign with a red arrow guiding the fleeing froggies in the right direction. In no time at all, the frogs were settling in for an indoor picnic, cheering on the winner of the fly eating contest and practicing for the leapfrog race. Happy frogs were nibbling on food piled high on tables that Freddie, Sally, and the mayor had set up the night before. Freddie knew that when it comes to weather, it was always best to be prepared. Wouldn't you know it, the leapfrog picnic was a huge success. The mayor and Sally made sure everyone knew that Freddie's forecasting had saved the day. Even Polly Woggins stopped to thank him. She was a little embarrassed, but happy to give him credit. "You know, Freddie," she said, "I could use a frogcaster like you to help out. Would you like to be my assistant?" I would, he shouted. Everyone laughed. "Look over there," said Sally. All the frogs turned. It was the biggest, most beautiful rainbow Freddie had ever seen. Freddie smiled. Things always look better after the sun comes out. And the future sure did look bright for the little frogcaster. I hope you enjoyed reading this book with me, friends. Bye. Hey, friends.
All right, guys, Miss Boynton is going to go ahead and show you what you're going to complete in Seesaw for today. It is for a grade, so we want to make sure that we do our very, very best, right? And so let me go ahead and share that with you in Seesaw. Did anybody get a chance to see which point of view this story would be in? Remember, first person point of view is I, me, or my. And then third person point of view is he, she, or they. So which one would it have been? First person or third person? Did anybody catch it? Maddox, did you raise your hand?
First person.
Is it first person? Rolando, you want to help him out? Oh, yes, you're right. It is third person. Remember that the narrator kept saying he, she, or they, or the mayor said, or Freddie said. That's going to tell you, remember those speaker tags from the quotation marks? That's going to tell you that's in third person, that the narrator's not telling the story. Somebody else outside the story is telling the story. Good job. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and present our Seesaw page. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see our Seesaw page. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you can see our Seesaw page. All right, so in Seesaw, we're going to activities, and today our activity is Tuesday, 126 suffixes Y and LY. Remember, Y means full of or with. LY means in that way, or in a way that you do something, right? So it's an action or an adjective or an adverb, I'm sorry. So when you come here, it's only one page, and it says a suffix is a syllable or word part added to the end of the word to change its meaning. The suffix Y means like or full of. The suffix ly means in that way. So the triangle is our best friend because this triangle is going to tell us what we're supposed to be doing, right? So this triangle says complete each sentence and use each word from the box once. So that means one time, not more than once. All right, so number one says, I can look out my window to blank plan my day. So it says windy, chilly, wildly, lovely, hilly, quickly, rainy, snowy, or sunny. So number one says, I can look out my window to blank plan my day. So what would be the answer to the number one? Harlow?
Quickly.
Good job. All right, so Miss Willington's going to, so Harlow said quickly, so Miss Willington's going to go ahead and type that in. And I'm going to minimize it or make it smaller so it can fit into the sentence as best as it can. And so I'm also not going to forget to cross out that word because I'm only using it once. And so you're going to do 1 through 5, just like Miss Willington did number 1. And then when you're done, you're going to press the green check mark, guys. All right, so I still need Jorge and Isabella Wigington to finish social studies. So once you're done with this reading activity, you're going to go ahead and go into social studies and do the Thurgood Marshall from yesterday. And then Melanie, I sent you a message through Remind, and I gave you the code to read the story and to do the quizzes for our story for social studies for Sojourner Truth. And so you can go ahead and do that, sweetie, after the reading activity, okay? All right. If you don't have any questions, you may log off and finish your Seesaw activity, guys, and I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Go ahead and log off, guys.
Miss Flemington,
Yes, Isabella?
you know, toasty.
Yes.
If you take away the Y, it makes toast.
Yeah, you're right. It does change the meaning of the word. All right, Isabella, go ahead and start reading for me, please. Okay?
If you take something from ruin, you would get run.
Yes, you're right. All right, Maddox, what was your question, babe?
Can we work with partners?
No, this is so easy, sweetie. You don't need partners, okay? This
Okay.
is something that you can do on your own. All right, have a good day, guys. Bye.
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 Bye, Isabella.